In the heart of Rwanda, beneath the shadow of the Virunga Mountains, there lived a woman whose name stirred both admiration and fear. Her name was Kiza, and she was as beautiful as she was dangerous. Tall and graceful, with skin the color of polished ebony and eyes that gleamed like the night sky, she had the presence of someone who could command a room with a single glance. But what made Kiza truly unforgettable was her mind, a mind sharp as a blade, capable of weaving plans and executing them with precision that left even the most cunning men wary of crossing her path. Kiza was born into a time of great turmoil. The country was still reeling from the aftermath of the genocide, and the scars ran deep. But while others sought healing, reconciliation, and rebuilding, Kiza was different. She didn't want peace, she wanted power. She saw in the chaos an opportunity to rise, and she had no qualms about using any means necessary to get what she wanted. Her ascent began in the back streets of Kigali, where she quickly became a figure of influence. At first, it was small-time deals, whispering secrets to those who could afford them, trading favors with the wealthy and powerful. But Kiza was not content with just being a player in someone else's game. She wanted to be the one holding the strings. So she started to play a more dangerous game, one that involved politics, corruption, and deception on a scale that could topple empires. She used her beauty as a weapon, seducing men in high places and making them bend to her will. But unlike so many others who had tried to rise through seduction alone, Kiza had the intelligence to back it up. She would sit in the shadows of government meetings, watching, listening, learning. She memorized who was aligned with whom, where the weaknesses were, and how she could exploit them. But Kiza's ambitions were not just about money or power. She had a vision for Rwanda, a vision that was both radical and terrifying. She believed that the only way to truly unite the country was through fear, absolute, unwavering fear. She saw the fractures that still existed in society, the unhealed wounds of the past, and she believed that only a strong hand could bind them together. And that hand, she was certain, would be hers. She began to orchestrate events that would shake the country to its core. A scandal involving a high-ranking government official, leaked documents that implicated him in war crimes, set the stage for her to step into the limelight. But Kiza wasn't interested in taking the fall herself. Instead, she positioned herself as the one who could clean up the mess, making deals behind closed doors and ensuring that she came out unscathed while her enemies crumbled around her. As her influence grew, so did her enemies. Kiza was always one step ahead, but she knew that the more power she amassed, the more dangerous her position became. She didn't fear death, but she feared failure. She had built herself up from nothing, and she wasn't about to let anyone take that away from her. She began to move like a ghost through Kigali, always appearing at just the right moment, always with the perfect answer to the questions that plagued the nation. Rumors spread about her. Some said she was a witch, others claimed she had made a pact with the spirits of the dead. But Kiza knew the truth: she was simply smarter than everyone else. She had learned to play the game better than anyone, and she was willing to do whatever it took to stay on top. The more she climbed, the more the people began to see her as a necessary evil. They didn't trust her, but they couldn't deny her effectiveness. She was ruthless, but she got results. Under her shadowy influence, deals were struck that stabilized the economy, crime rates dropped, and for the first time in years, there was a sense of order in the chaos. But Kiza's version of order was a precarious one, built on secrets and lies, and she knew that it could all come crashing down at any moment. Her most audacious move came when she set her sights on the presidency itself. The incumbent was popular, a man who had guided the country through its darkest hours, but Kiza was not deterred. She knew that popularity was fleeting, that people's memories could be manipulated, and that even the most beloved leaders had skeletons in their closets. And Kiza was a master at finding skeletons. She launched a campaign that was unlike anything Rwanda had ever seen. It wasn't based on policies or promises, it was based on fear. Fear of what would happen if she didn't take control, fear of the unknown forces she hinted at but never fully revealed. She let the rumors swirl around her, feeding them just enough to keep people on edge but never confirming anything outright. As the election approached, tensions ran high. Her opponents tried to expose her, but every attempt backfired. It was as if Kiza had eyes and ears everywhere, knowing exactly what her enemies were planning before they even made a move. She had created a network of spies and informants that reached into every corner of the government, the military, and the media. Nothing happened in Rwanda without Kiza knowing about it. On the day of the election, the streets of Kigali were eerily quiet. People lined up at the polls, casting their votes with a mix of hope and dread. Kiza's face was everywhere, on posters, billboards, and television screens. Her eyes seemed to follow people as they walked, a constant reminder of the power she held over them. When the results were announced, it wasn't even close. Kiza had won by a landslide. The people had chosen fear over hope, stability over uncertainty. And Kiza had delivered. She stood on the balcony of the presidential palace, looking out over the city she now controlled. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the skyline. But Kiza wasn't interested in sunsets. She was already thinking about what came next, how she would consolidate her power, how she would keep her enemies at bay, how she would ensure that no one ever dared to challenge her again. She knew that ruling through fear was a dangerous game, but it was the only game she knew how to play. And as long as she was the one holding the cards, she was confident she could win.